Yo, so last weekend we got Canelo and Charlo in the ring on the main stage. Let's talk about it. Yo, I'm back. It's been a long time, but I'm back, man. Basically, we're gonna cut to the chase. I'm back making content. So last weekend, Canelo and Charlo, right? First of all, I'll start by saying this. This is what boxing's all about. This is what the sport needs. It needs men of bravery, men of honor, men of courage, men that want to define greatness, men that want to build a legacy in the sport. As most major sports have, we have Canelo, who is obviously pursuing a legacy of greatness, a legacy of pursuing belts. In boxing, that's what it's all about. If you're not in it to win belts, then you have no business being in boxing. If you're just there to be a placeholder or there to collect a check, you can really get hurt doing this thing, man. I think that this fight, this Canelo versus Charlo fight, was good for the sport itself, as far as bringing casual fans in. Everybody kind of knows who Canelo is, even if you don't follow boxing per se. You kind of have a gist of who Canelo is. He's been a top dog for a long time. Only losses to Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Dimitri Bivol. So coming into this fight, we had seen Canelo kind of phase out of his prime. What we thought he was phasing out. I thought he was phasing out of his prime. Not that he was like falling off a cliff or anything, but just that peak top performing boxer that we came to know as Canelo Alvarez seemed to like he just, I don't want to say lost it, because he's still young in a sense, so you didn't lose it, but you can lose interest. You can be less engaged. You can be less committed. And one thing I saw over the last couple of years is Canelo taking up golf, and golf becoming like one of the loves of his life. And while that's great, man, I love the sport of golf myself, so I can't blame him. But when you see legendary athletes, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Wayne Gretzky, Tiger Woods, Tom Brady, any of those guys, when those guys become just as interested or even severely interested in something else, whether it's a hobby, whether it's another sport, whether it's being a commercial guy, like being mainstream commercial, you kind of do see them fall off usually. There are some greats who break through. You have your LeBrons, your Tom Brady's, guys who can be on the commercial scene, be the face of a sport, and still be at the top of the sport. Boxing is different because you don't fight as often as a basketball player would play or a football player would play. Your moment is kind of there for the taking, and if you don't seize that moment, then there's no telling if that moment will happen again or when. So Charlo's going for greatness. Everybody knows the going for greatness storyline, moving up 2 weight classes. I think a lot of people thought that his power would transfer to a bigger size, a heavier weight. It's sad to see that you don't know how these things will work out until it's already in action. So, wow, man, I have so much to say about Canelo. I mean, I've never been a doubter because he's truly a great boxer. There's no debate about that. But obviously, him fighting like top talent, top tier talent, you always wanted to see it. It's been a long time since he's fought somebody where it was like, this guy's gonna knock Canelo. This guy's gonna beat Canelo. He's gonna knock Canelo off his throne, until he fought Bivol. But you know what? The Bivol fight, great for the sport. He can't mess with Bivol, man. Bivol's too big and he's too strong. He's got one of the best 1-2s that I've seen at his size right now, like currently in the sport. So the Bivol thing was a reach, and he's saying he wants to fight Bivol at 175. I say leave Bivol the hell alone. That's just what I say. I wouldn't mess with Bivol right now just because you beat up Charlo. Charlo had no business being that size. No business. And honestly, I thought that Charlo was going to come in lighter on the actual fight night to play, whatever speed, quickness. I was thinking that's what, his approach was going to be. But shout out to Derek James. He's an awesome trainer, amazing guy to have in your corner. But, I really think that there was a flaw in the game plan. I take that back. I don't think there was a flaw in the Charlo game plan. I think the game plan was set, and once he actually got in the ring with Canelo and felt and saw what he was dealing with, saw the defensive prowess, saw the footwork, saw the speed, felt the power. Not saying that Canelo has Deontay Wilder power or crazy knockout power, but for a guy that has no business being at that weight, I'm sure he was feeling some stuff that he didn't like. And from the beginning, you saw Charlo on his back foot, up against the ropes, in retreat for most of the fight. Charlo never got to that point where he was like, yo, I'm getting out embarrassed in here. I'm going for broke. There was something that happened. And obviously there was the knockdown, I think, seventh round. But it happened before that. Charlo had already decided, I'm just going to survive. He had already, it seems like in his mind, he had already decided, I can't beat this man. Let me just not embarrass myself in here. And, for a fight fan, that's easy to recognize. It's easy to recognize when a guy is trying to survive. And it's sad because I think a lot of people were at least pulling for Charlo, at the very least pulling for Charlo to go for broke, pulling for Charlo to have this magical story of, I was actually hoping for a draw. I wanted it to be a great fight. I want not necessarily a dog fight because I'm into the science of boxing and the strategy side of it. I'm not the knock everybody out type person, so I don't look down on Canelo for not finishing Charlo. I feel like if he fought Charlo with the same aggression and angst that he fought Triple G the first two fights, that he could have finished Charlo hands down. Charlo never really opened up, man. There was a few times where you saw his jab was effective, but in order for him to throw the jab, he had to step in harm's way, and you could just tell that's not what he wanted to do. And that's the saddest part about it, is that Charlo is going to have a whole bunch of what ifs. Obviously, on the side of it where we hear him speak, he's supposed to say, I gave him my all, or he's supposed to say, at least I didn't get knocked out or whatever. I didn't like that line, but that's what he said. But late at night, when Jamil Charlo is laying in bed, he has to question what he could have done, what he could have done more of, what he could have done better. I don't know, man. What's next for Charlo? Charlo says he'll go back to his weight class and dominate. I like to, I want to see that. I want to see the Charlos, both of them, be more active. I think that could play a major part in doing things like Canelo fights. You're not the most active fighter to just be jumping on Canelo like that, man. Canelo says he wants Bivol at 175. I don't think he should do that. Also, the Bud Crawford fight would be enticing. I don't think it should happen. I think he needs to go ahead and fight David Benavidez, because there is a lot of material on him and Benavidez, and it has looked in the past as if he was ducking Benavidez for good. I get it. Benavidez is a young lion. He's a monster. He's got crazy reach, and that would actually be a huge threat to actually finishing Canelo or getting him up out of there, because I think that would be his highest level of competition in a long time. That's not a fight that Canelo talks like I'll fight him, but we've came a long way with Canelo talking about Benavidez to get to the point where we're at now, where he says he'll fight him. We've gone through the whole I don't fight Mexican things, and dude, he's got to fight Benavidez. He's got to get Benavidez out of there. And then the Bud Crawford fight would be peak. It would be like the only thing left. After that, man, I don't know what's next for Canelo. Hopefully Charlo bounces back, man. The sport of boxing is in a great place right now. Hopefully they keep it going. The women are holding it down. The men are starting to come around to making fights. They're starting to make fights. Let's see what PBC does next. But I expect Canelo to have another big fight. It might not be this year, but soon. Anyway, man, feels good to be back. It don't even feel like this was 10 minutes. If you're still watching, then leave a comment down there. Let me know what you think about the fight. And also, follow your boy.